Hi everybody and welcome to Mike's Hidden Histories. Today I'm on the side of Mount Brandon in County Kerry. Mount Brandon is the second highest mountain in Ireland, and I'm on the Fata Ridge to tell you a little bit about 4 planes that crashed here during World War II. And the first of those planes was a German plane, crash landed on the 20th of August 1940. Now briefly, the plane with 6 crew on board, it was a 4-engine plane, left Bordeaux and occupied France and travelled northwards up the west coast of Ireland on a weather reconnaissance flight. It developed engine trouble, so they decided to return home, to come back down the coast again. And obviously things got so bad that they decided they needed to land on Tralee Bay. So as they came out of the cloud, the crew and captain were horrified to see, in fact, that they were at a mountaintop. Captain Mullenhauer was able to pull the nose of the plane up, so it actually belly landed. All of them survived, some of them were injured. One of the crew was able to make down the mountain to the first house here, the O'Connor household, and Miss O'Connor met him and gave him a jug of milk, and she said the word slánta, which is the Irish for good health, and these German Luftwaffe pilots knew now that they were in neutral Ireland. In Clahan, the nearest village at the bottom of the mountain, the Gardaí or the police heard the crash, came up here and met the crew making their way down the mountain. Now the crew were brought, 3 of them were brought to hospital in Tralee, in the county hospital in Tralee, and 3 of them were okay. Now interestingly, they were had hospitality here for some time because the state had not readied its internment camp in the Curragh on the east of Ireland. So there were some weeks waiting to be taken to the Curragh. Now very interesting about that crew, they came back exactly 50 years later, the 20th of August 1990, and again they met Miss O'Connor 50 years later, the woman who had given them the jug of milk. So that's the story, the first story of the first plane that landed here. And it was the first German plane to land in Ireland, and the crew were the first people to be put into the internment camp in the Curragh. And the second plane was a BOAC. It was a civilian plane, a BOAC, which was the predecessor to British Airways plane, flying from Lisbon in Portugal to Ireland, to Foynes here. There were 25 people in that plane, and it arrived at the airport at the mouth of the Shannon. Remember, there were seaplanes, tried to land and couldn't, so it decided, that was 4:15 in the morning, so it decided it would fly further out until across the sea until weather improved. Now they got their calculations wrong, and the wind was much stronger, and they were off course, in fact, and they were in dense fog. And at the last moment they saw the mountain here, and they crashed into the mountain because the starboard side of wing of the plane hit the ground, and the plane went on fire. The captain himself was killed and 9 passengers were killed. 6 of those were burnt beyond recognition. Again down to Clahan village, and the police from Clahan village came up, and followed by the army from Tralee, who came out here to bring the bodies down the mountain. Now the 6 of those people who were burnt couldn't be recognised. 2 of them were eventually identified. They were buried in a cemetery in Killiney here across the bay. Because of censorship during the war, the others were not reported on because they were military aircraft. This second one was a civilian aircraft. Amazingly, the third plane was also a flying boat, a Sutherland flying boat. It just over 3 weeks after the first Sutherland crashed here in Slieve-Gloss, this plane also crashed into the mountain very close to the plane I just mentioned, the civilian plane. Now on this plane there were 11, and 8 of them were killed and 3 of them survived. They were on a mission from the Bay of Biscay looking for U-boats, so they were away off course when they landed up here on the side of a mountain in County Kerry in the southwest of Ireland. On the 22nd of August, the crash happened in the morning. By the next evening, the bodies were brought of those crewmen who died were brought to the border with the north of Ireland and handed over to the British Army at that point, and they're buried in the north of Ireland. And the final crash I want to tell you about was involved another RAF plane, a Royal Air Force plane, and it happened here on Mount Brandon again on the 20th December 1943 at Arraglen. And this was a Vickers Wellington plane. Now, it was crewed by 6 Polish crewmen. They had reported earlier that day on the 20th December that their radio had malfunctioned, that in fact they didn't know where they were. They had no fix on where they were. They were seen flying over Lismore in County Waterford and the south coast of Ireland, and they were seen by lookout posts, people on lookout posts along the coast through Cork and Kerry. Eventually they ended up here, and in a fog again, in the mist and fog of a very dark December day, they crashed into the mountain and they were all killed. So the Red Cross, the local defence force, turned up here, the Garda, and again the army came from Tralee to take the bodies back again to the border with the north of Ireland. This small part of Kerry, on the side of Mount Brandon here, experienced war when 4 planes crashed into the side of the mountain. Of those, as I said, 3 were military, and there was censorship. They were not reported on. The 1 civilian plane was reported in the papers as well. So way up here on the side of Mount Brandon, signing off for this time, and more from Mike's Hidden Histories next time.